Start our meeting. Welcome, everybody. We'll call to order with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Greene County's Schools District and Mission Statement is to promote lifelong learning through real-world experiences. Please call the roll and establish a quorum.
Dominic.
Here.
Fields.
Here.
McConnell.
Here.
Silva.
Here.
Fisher.
Here. Okay. Approval of agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
Okay, Bonnie moved and Cindy seconded to approve the agenda. Please call the roll.
Fields.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. All right, open forum. If anyone would like to address the board on anything that's not on the agenda, this is the time to step forward and address it. If not, we'll move along. Okay, consent items. Have any questions, or do I have a motion to approve the consent items?
I'll move to approve the consent items.
If we could maybe pull out the Brenda Mears resignation, that'd be great. And then approve everything else.
I will second that motion.
All right, so we have a motion to approve the consent items with pulling out Brenda Muir's resignation.
Acknowledge separately.
Yeah, to acknowledge that separately later. Yeah. Or next, so.
Not to deny it.
I won't deny it. I don't know if I said
Okay,
it right,
please
but
call
I'm
the
looking at
roll
yours.
for that motion.
Dominic.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. Cindy, would you like to?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to honor Brenda on her retirement. And just say thank you for all that you've done. We, especially I think any newbies on the board, have utilized you hugely, and your wealth of knowledge is unreal. So thank you.
She served us well.
Um,
Yeah, and I thank you too, Brenda. And I thank you for giving us early announcements so we can
I'm not done
find
yet.
find a suitable replacement, which we think we've got in the pipeline, so that's good. Would you like to have that put in the minutes?
Yes, I'll make a motion to approve her resignation. Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
All right, the motion by Cindy, seconded by Michelle. Please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. All right, old business. The second reading of revised board policy BP 905.1, community use of school district buildings, sites, and equipment. Really,
Move to approve BP.
I have a question first.
Oh,
Yeah. Why did we go to not having I'm just curious, I'm not saying I disagree with it, not having a custodian presence?
Just the availability to have somebody on staff that can fill that role. The position's been posted and offered and hired in various forms of media, and we've yet to have anybody step forward and take on that position.
That's a position that's other than just a regular custodial position?
Correct. Essentially, we're saying that we cannot guarantee that we will provide a custodian, but that we may provide a custodian.
Okay.
In this case, may not provide the custodian.
Yeah, I just had a
It's not,
question.
it's not like somebody can't rent it because we don't have a custodian. That's more what it.
Yeah.
Just saying that we may not provide them one. Correct.
Okay. Yeah, that was the only question I had on the changes. Any other questions or comments? Cindy, you wanted to move to approve?
Yep, I'll move to approve board policy 905.1, the community use of school district buildings, sites, and equipment.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion by Cindy, seconded by Michelle to approve BP 905.1. Please call the roll.
Silva.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Domdick.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. Okay, the second approval is of BP Board Policy 505.5, graduation requirements.
Yeah, big change there was just really identifying out that just because a student may receive special education services does not mean that their graduation requirements would be lessened for any reason. Because there's several students who receive special education services that do not require an altered graduation requirement. So just a good catch by Karen Sandberg.
I'll make a motion to approve BP 505.5 for graduation requirements. The second reading.
Second. Okay, motion by Bonnie, seconded by John to approve the second reading of BP 505.5 on graduation requirements. Please call the roll.
Fields.
Aye.
Domdick.
Aye.
McConnell. Silva.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. All right. Item 4, reports, presentations, and correspondence.
Before we get into map data, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Phillips first. It's kind of a new monthly tradition. We're going to honor staff members and students. And we're going to start with high school, middle school, and then elementary.
The first one is Isabel Schroeder, also known as Bella. She's sitting right here. She may try to hide. Parents of Aaron Schroeder and Shelley Schroeder enjoys volleyball and track. Going to Iowa State or Oral Roberts University for elementary ed to be a teacher. That in itself, a round of applause. Plays the acoustic guitar. That's with steel strings on the guitar. A regular, I wrote it on the back. A classic guitar has nylon strings. So there are two different feels and sounds of strings, but she likes the acoustic guitar. And probably one of my favorite things about Bella is her favorite drink, Body Armor Edge Tropical Chaos. Next student, Aaron, I don't think he's here, he couldn't make it. Aaron Knoll has parents of Carrie Goodwin and Rob Knoll. Wants to go to Iowa State to major in computer science, playing bass for 5 years for us. He wore a headband for 2 years straight to grow out his hair. I wish he was here. You saw him. He's got hair down here, and you wouldn't be able to miss him. So he has 2 dogs, Frazier and Fletcher. So please acknowledge him, even though he's not here. Next is Tanya Drugenga. She's sitting right there. And she is our non-certified staff member for this month. 13 years, she's been our high school success center instructor. 20 years in the district, 35 in education. She's worked in East Greene, Jefferson, Scranton, Greene County, and Panorama. Husband Dan was in education for 36 years before he retired. Daughter's a teacher, son is an associate in a school, loves puzzles, is a sign language interpreter, and cancer-free for 14 years.
Thank you.
Last but not least is Snowy Anderson. She couldn't make it tonight. She is married to Wes Anderson. They have 1 daughter, Darcy Elizabeth, 2 dogs, Luna and Sirius. Sirius is named after Sirius Black and Harry Potter. 1 cat, Arthur. Lifelong ambition is to play the bagpipes. So please acknowledge her.
Thank you, Mr. Evans. It's my pleasure to get to present a couple of certificates tonight to some very deserving people at the middle school. Just to kind of dispel any myths out there, like you have to be the principal's favorite to get on the list. I'm drawing from the previously identified pool of students of the month at the middle school. So we do that every month. We have 2 males, 2 females from each grade level. They're recognized. We've done that twice. So I had a pretty smallest pool of the year so far, but we came out with two really good ones this month. The first one I want to recognize is right over here. Ms. Jordan High Note, known to her friends as Jordy, I believe. On her Student of the Month certificate, she was recognized as having a positive attitude. She compliments her peers, and she's always willing to help when needed. And I've seen her apply this personally in the lunchroom. You know, when you're even when you're adult, you want to sit with certain people when you have your time of your own, okay? Jordy's no different than the rest of us, but I've seen her give that up in order to help somebody else get through lunch. And that's a genuine kindness that I appreciate about you. So Jordy, on behalf of the Greene County Middle School staff, thank you very much. The next student I want to recognize is Mr. Logan Edwards back here. Logan is an 8th grader in our building, and his Student of the Month certificate was given for participating in class discussions. I've been in the classroom. He is engaged in what's happening in the classroom on a daily basis. His teachers say he gives a ton of effort on all the work that he does, and that he's a caring student. And I've seen him apply this in the hallway. In our society today, when you walk past somebody, you might say, how you doing, or how are you? And that's a rhetorical question, not to Logan. He asks you and he really wants to know how you're doing. He'll have a conversation with you about it. And I think that's so cool about him. Makes him really a special young man. So Logan, on behalf of the Greene County Middle School staff, thank you very much and congratulations. Our associate or non-certified staff member, classified staff member this month is Carrie Fox. Is Carrie here? I didn't see her come in, okay? Mrs. Fox is an associate. She works with a number of students in our special education program. The staff members are going to be selected each month at the middle school by interviewing the students of the month. So I'm going to go around and talk to the students of the month, and they're going to give me feedback on who they think I should nominate for this process. So Mrs. Fox got repeated nominations from that group. The student said she's super friendly in a good way, always greets them by their name. She has the best hand sanitizer, not flavors, what do you call those? Smells, whatever. Okay. She has a great selection of hand sanitizer she wears on her lanyard, and it's always available to any student who wants it. And they love that. They think that's really cool. I've seen her apply this as a great team player. When she comes into the lunchroom with her students, if we're shorthanded, she doesn't just walk right past. She picks up a rag and starts getting things ready for the next group to come in. She's a real good team player. If you would please recognize her in her absence. And as a certified staff member, our students told me that I should recognize Mr. Matt Paulson. Mr. Paulson is a 7th grade social studies teacher in our building, but he wears a lot of different hats. I can tell you that he is on our PBIS team. He coaches multiple sports in our district. He is on our CPI, which is an emergency response type team. He's always willing to leave the classroom, even though they're doing great things, to make sure that that kid has the support that he or she needs. He's also worked on our social, emotional, behavior, and mental health team. The student said about Mr. Paulson is he's a great listener, which shows that he cares about us. They said that, I was going to tell Matt, these were their words, not my words, makes a boring subject more fun, which they like, and that they like that he coaches sports with them. So if you would, again, please recognize Matt Paulson.
Okay, from the elementary, how we have started this process of recognition for students and staff, I had staff nominate students. Who would you like to recognize is the question I asked, and then tell me why. So just so happened this month, we have 2 3rd graders, a 3rd grade boy and a 3rd grade girl. So I'm gonna start with Emma Stevenson, and she brought her mom with her and her 4 sisters. And Emma is a 3rd grader in Mr. Paulson's class. And this is what your teachers said about you, Emma. Emma is a genuinely nice girl. She is kind, respectful, and very responsible. And mom's like, yeah, I know she's very, she knows how to work hard and do her best. She's very common sense and has a good head on her shoulders. She can carry on a great conversation with anyone. So I want to say congratulations, Emma. I'll shake your hand and I have a little, let's give Emma. All right, and our next third grader that we have is Ethan Daniel. And Ethan is in Mrs. Miller's class. He's a third grader. He's the son of Aaron and Nick Daniel, and he brought both mom and dad with him tonight. He is, this was what your teachers, Ethan, said about you, okay? Ethan was the very first student to make it on the third grade wall of fame. And the third graders have outside, kind of in their hallway, a wall of fame, and it's the way that they're recognizing their positive choices, and they're just rewarded for making good choices. And when you fill up your little frame, right, then you get a certificate for the wall. So he's the first third grader to make it on the wall. He's very responsible and always does his best work. He shares ideas and treats his peers kindly. So let's give Ethan. All right, staff. We have a really good pair actually here with us, certified and non-certified staff, a teacher and associate. They actually work together. It kind of worked out like that. So the first staff member I want to recognize is Jessie Dane, and she is an associate in special ed for with Kathy Duffy. So that's why I said it's kind of funny how that worked out. And this is what your peers, so staff nominated staff at our school. So this is what your peers, Jessie, said about you. She's always willing to go the extra mile for a student in need. Any student who's having a tough time. She makes wonderful connections and relationships with students in the room that she works in and all of the students in the school. And that is 100% true. She hangs out with me in the morning sometimes when I'm there, greeting kids as they come into school or getting them off the bus. And that's definitely true of Jessie. So let's shake your hand, Jessie. And our teacher that we're recognizing is Kathy Dobney. And Kathy, again, is our special ed teacher for us, works really closely with Jessie. And you had a couple of staff members actually, and I want to share two things that they had to say about you. Kathy works extremely hard to make sure all of her students' needs are met. Sometimes she has limited staff, that is true, in her room to support her, and takes the extra step to support her students, staff, and colleagues. Kathy is efficient, knowledgeable, and open-minded. She's able to juggle many roles and is able to offer help and advice when needed. And today, she actually was the teachers for a training. So she's trained a lot of our staff in CPI. So let's recognize Kathy.
All right, we'll do a picture in the same spot again with students and staff.
Before you go,
yeah.
Snowy is here. She forgot her bag map by pipes. Brought Mercy, Elizabeth, and Wes. So give a little wave.
I so desperately
We get a quick picture with everybody. I'll just take you to the cafeteria, and most of our that were awarded.
Good, I'm glad you got some. See you later. Thank you.
My last one.
It works.
Wes has that.
They all sat so quietly.
I know.
Hey, how do you do that?
I'm homegirls.
That's my guess.
Is Olivia nervous for tomorrow?
No, she just is sad. She just is sad it's over. Yeah. I mean, I told her, they had over head. We're trying to get on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yes, one of my questions
That was a
was
hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Between
I've got a little.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's certainly overhead, so it's all right.
I think we're,
Oh, I'm sorry.
for now, we're just trying to.
Jerry said.
Why are we busy on schedule?
However, he doesn't think.
Yeah, there's.
It's
The legislature sure.
But I was looking at this one, like, thinking through that. What I heard arguments.
He said an athletic decision, something like that.
I do kind of know.
That's
I want and whether.
Well, I didn't get to.
But this is just.
I just asked.
Oh, he's.
Let's have that. And another question I had was.
Yes, right,
Right,
My mom never once sent me to Florida, so it wasn't like.
Another question I asked was.
Oh, I know.
This is after.
Going from one thing to the other.
Yeah.
I got my four livestock.
Sydney's college, yeah. No, I wasn't going to, I was gonna hold off until like June when you can. Oh, yeah. What word do you use? I'm like, no, you're right. No, it's good.
So you get more superintendent's report?
Okay, all right, we'll come to order.
Minister.
So the second part of my report is just to share a district level look at our first MAP scores. So this is from our fall window. So right now it'll just be proficiency scores, and what those numbers represent is just the percentage of students proficient. And from each of those schools, you can see along the bottom. So blue is elementary, green is middle, gray is high. And then the orange is the district kind of all compiled together in both math and reading. So the one thing I would just caution you when you look at any data, especially this one right now, is that this is straight baseline data. This is the first time these students have taken this assessment. It's the first time that we've learned from the different reports that are in it. So it's not something I get too excited about one way or the other than just knowing we have a direction in each of those grade levels now. And then obviously the one on the bottom, then that's broken out again by content. We only did math and reading K11, and that's just broken out in by grade level.
So are you surprised by these numbers, kind of what they are, or you just are taking them at face value right now and it's just a starting point?
It's very much at face value and it's a starting point.
Perfect.
The one thing I know I've had a couple of conversations with each of our principals, and said that when my building when I was in my previous district, when we first step map, our map assessment, I wish our data looked like this. And I say that in a sense of that 37% that we see in a particular grade level, that was a peak for our school of where we started.
Wow.
So.
Is there,
Yeah.
is there comparative, I assume there is comparative data for similar size schools?
If they use MAP, yes. Otherwise, it's a national comparative. So where students score based on how they perform on the test, it's all based on, it's a national average. So nationally, this is how our students would fare. And again, this is just meaning they're just proficient. So this doesn't say whether they're barely proficient or whether they're off the charts. It's just whether they are or are not.
What percentage of schools participate in this MAPS?
There's over 5 million students nationwide that take the MAP assessment in the various windows.
Out of how many total students would there be? I don't even know what that number would be.
I don't know. I just know there are over 5 million.
It's got to be pushing 100 million or 80 maybe million
Probably.
students. So it's a small percentage of total students that actually do the MAP.
Mhm.
Yeah. Huh.
Then what is, now that we have our baseline data, then what is the next step in incorporating the information that we have from this?
Yeah, so now for us, it's looking at the individual reports because they do break it down by class, and then they'll go even further and down, and they'll drill down to like what students need. And so now our teachers can take the data that they've learned from that, they can line it up with their curricular materials, they can line it up with their interventions, and they can line it up with their general core instruction to start moving kids forward. So I mean, we're taking a big focus on core instruction as opposed to intervention. We can't, we always look for that magical like 80% number, 80% of students being proficient, and we're not even there at any grade level. So it's kind of silly of us to look at just intervention only when we have a core issue. So it's all that points to is we know where our gaps are and we know what we need to do now. So and just using those reports to help us get out and get on a good path.
And when they take the test the next time, do we have a goal of, a 3% increase or a certain
So
proficiency?
Yep, our year end goal is for us to be at 65% in both content areas by the end of the year. So, which we're already there in the high school for reading anyway.
Mhm.
They're already actually surpassed that. But as a district, we're 12% behind in math, and then only 4% in reading. So we're close in reading. Math again, though we have straight adopted a brand new resource. We're just trying to wrap our heads around it. K-8. So we have work to do there for sure. K-9.
All right. Any other questions or comments on MAP testing? We'll go to item B, board committee reports. Anybody have any committee reports that they've been to?
If anyone is interested and wants to build a pool, there is going to be a meeting coming up, and there's going to be some more information coming out about that. So I know as far as the rec center, I sit on that, and there's been talk about what's happening with the pool, indoor pool. And if people are involved and want to continue to see the project forward, it will move forward. If there isn't community involvement, people don't want it proceed, it will not.
Okay, anybody else?
The Bell Tower Foundation, just as far as kids go, they were interested if there's any teachers that wanted to do any curriculum based, whether it's measuring from the tower or doing something, just to reach out that they were interested in trying to line that up, or maybe working with Boost to get a grant for that to get it paid. So they just wanted to reach out and say kids are always welcome.
All right. Move on to other administrative reports. And you sent out the, does anybody have any questions? We don't have a link to that on here then, or do we? Should we? like that report that you sent out that,
Yeah.
I know. Is there a way to click on here and get? Not today, I know. Would that be possible?
It would be possible.
I mean, not give more work. But
No, it's,
it would be kind of nice to click on that right now and review it, but anyway. Any other questions on administrative reports?
Can I go back to the board committee or with,
Oh, I'm sorry, we're done with that. No. Go ahead.
with Brenda's resignation, do we want to talk about our path for finding a replacement, or is that for another time?
We'd follow our district process for internal, how the position will be posted internally. It'll be posted for 72 hours. And to see if there's anybody internally that wants to take it. If there's no internal applicants, then it'll be posted externally. We'll post it to the Iowa Association of School Business Officials. We'll post it to Teach Iowa, and we'll advertise locally.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay,
There'll be an email coming out at 7:30, just guessing.
all right, we'll move on to item D then, other reports or correspondence. Is there any other reports we need to consider or hear? All right, if not, we'll move on to new business, school driving permits. Bonnie, do you want to take this?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So we had 4 people. So Maya, is it Desiree? Are you okay? And then Trenton. Okay. And then Christopher is here. So we've got 3 here that we would look at approving because you do have to be present to get that going. So just want to make sure we'll just go in the order that's listed. You just want to say who you are, where you live, so kind of how far away from the school or where you live in general, and then why you need a school permit. So
Yeah, if you could stand, please, so we can hear
you
you.
get to stand.
Put you on the hot seat here.
I'm Maxine, and I live 3 miles from the high school. I live over there. And I need a school permit to get to school, and I'm in athletics. To get to those practices too.
I'm guessing your parents are very busy.
Okay, and then Desiree?
What?
Just say,
Oh.
just you get to stand up and say who you are and where you live and just why you need a permit.
I'm Desiree Murphy, and I live like a mile and a half or 2 miles away from the high school. And I'd like a school permit because it would, I'd have to become more responsible, and my grandson would finally be able to get to work on time. And I'd like to have the responsibility.
Great, thank you. All right, Christopher, you're up.
I'm Christopher Rafferty. I live 11 miles away from the school, and I like school permit because I'm in various sports and like extracurricular activities.
Awesome. Okay, great. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of go over some of the main points, but you have to follow the law the way it's written, not by what I tell you here. So these are just kind of some key things that we see get kind of messed up in the middle of that here. So, you are only able to drive from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. So if there's a late night thing, you need to just plan around that after 10 p.m. you're not supposed to be driving. You drive the most direct route from home to school. And you can only stop for fuel when it's at the closest filling station. So stay on your route. When driving without an adult, you can only carry 1 passenger. This is the one that gets broken a lot. So keep an eye on that. Only 1 passenger, unless it's a relative. So someone that lives in your home relative. Don't use your phones. You know where you're going. You're going from home to school. So definitely don't use your phones. Remember that anytime you have a violation, or your license gets suspended or revoked, your 6-month waiting period starts all over to get your license. So just keep that in mind. And then just remember that it's not just the police that catch you, it's teachers, other people that know you have your permit. We vote on it, your name's in public. So just make sure you guys are following the rules you're supposed to do. So I would make a motion to approve the 3 that are here tonight.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Bonnie, seconded by Cindy to approve the 3 attendees tonight that are seeking school driving permits. Please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Davidek.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
If you guys want to come in, your form signed by Steve, and then you guys can
Desiree.
stay or.
This is Desiree's form. She got it.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Desiree. Maya? All right.
You got it. Okay.
All right. Hi, Chrissy.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good.
Thank you guys for
Thank
coming.
you. Yeah, how you doing?
Good, busy. How about
Yeah,
yourself?
good, good.
Have a good evening.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
All right, we'll go to item B, fundraiser requests.
How's it going?
Good.
So this one that's up is a puff pastry deal through another company. Just off the bat, I don't intend to do many fundraisers like this. I think it's more fun to do fundraisers that, you know, if it's a free will donation at a concert, or if it's something that involves our community more and our kids more. But this one's just to give the kids one opportunity to make some money for their Disney trip, to help defray the cost of their last payment, which I think is about $400 for most of them. So, you know, that being on their parents' paycheck for this this term of time here, as well as whatever money they would want to spend in the park, that might be good to give them the opportunity to make some money to help with that. So,
And when's that trip?
the trip is going to be the 27th through getting back very early on the 2nd.
December.
The sun.
Yes,
January.
27th of December through
Cool.
2nd of January. Yep. And you know, while we're talking about that, I think I'd like to keep doing trips like that on a regular basis. Potentially maybe a little bit shorter so that it's not just quite as much money. I think when we were originally planning on doing 5 days in parks, it was going to be even more, and we cut one day to just bring the cost down a little bit. But I think even a couple days or 3 days in the Disney parks and Universal would be still really fun, and kids would have a great time and not have to spend quite so much money. So
Very good.
yeah. So there's that one. And then is the other one up there too, the Java and Jazz, or that's toys.
That's it on there.
Is that all for the band? I've got another one that basically I don't really know if I need to get approval for it, but I thought I would just run it by you in case. But for our Java and Jazz concert on the 12th of November on Saturday, we're bringing out the jazz band from Iowa State University. And just through the generosity of partners like that and Boost, we've been able to run that fundraiser with no overhead, which has just been great. It's been a great educational experience for the kids to get to play with a professional jazz group, and now to get to play with college jazz students. Some of them graduated from Greene County High School. It's just a great opportunity, and we can make some money just by putting out a free will donation box. And so I'll go ahead and submit a formal form for that too, but I guess that would have had to be approved at this meeting. But I don't know. Do you have any feedback on free will donation boxes? Do I need to?
I
fill out a
think it
form
still
for that?
has to go through a form, but we can approve
Okay.
this.
So yeah. So then there's that one, and then I also have this one. I made enough copies for everybody, but this one's way off in the future for next year. Let's leave half here. This one is for homecoming of next year. Where I student taught in Cedar Rapids, the band ran the homecoming shirts and homecoming buttons. And I did a little checking around to make sure I wasn't stepping on anybody's toes, because I know we used to have that. We used to have shirts and buttons, but checked around, and I don't think anyone's planning on doing it for next year. So even if you can't approve this tonight, I just wanted to get that on your back burner, so you're aware that we're planning to do that.
We'll follow our board process there.
Sounds good.
So it'll go on next month's. We'll
Okay.
look at it then.
Sounds good. That's all I got.
Thank you.
All right, should we go ahead and just approve, have a motion to approve the ones that are listed here then, plus,
The free will donation box?
I-
Or do we need to have a form or we don't approve it?
We gotta follow our process. You gotta follow the policy that's written.
Okay. So is that, if it's not approved tonight, does he not put out a box or?
When is your job?
It's the 12th, and I thought I submitted a form for that, so. Cause I'd submitted 2 forms originally, the Java and Jazz and the Wahi pastry one. And the pastry one got sent back because it had incorrect information on it, so I had to change that, but I thought I submitted both. Maybe I didn't. I think I did. But I have a Google copy of it if you want to see that one too.
Yeah, I think you better go ahead and approve that one too. I'll look in my emails, but
Or do you have a printed copy you could just bring to it or print one out right now?
I could print it out very quickly, yeah. Maybe run and do that really quick?
Sure. If you already have it filled out and ready.
Yeah.
Then that would be,
you have a problem with approving it?
It's just a
Print.
process.
Yep.
That's all.
follow the process.
We move on though and not wait for that.
So we're gonna approve 5 fundraiser requests here, correct? Including the one. that
is
we're
there
gonna
3?
have printed.
Is there 3 or 4 here? What do we got?
There's 3.
There's just 3 here. So we're
Plus
gonna
Java
approve
and Jazz
4
would be
total.
4.
Oh, okay, yeah, 4, excuse me.
I'll make a motion to approve the 3 here as presented and the 4th that we're getting and know about,
Java and Jazz.
Java and Jazz. November 12th.
I'll second.
And we encourage people to make sure and get the forms in properly,
Yes.
so we can follow policy in the future. Okay, so we have a motion by Bonnie, and seconded by
Cindy.
Cindy. Please call the roll.
Fields.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. Okay. we'll
Just
move-
for a clarifying point for future, anything that money is being collected for on behalf of the school needs to have a form.
Correct.
Yes.
And it has to be submitted the Friday prior to the board meeting.
That will, then after this
So it
week,
could, because then it needs to get on your packets. So
Correct.
that you can see
So
it and have
then
ample time to ask questions.
after this date of this one that he's presenting to us, we would reject it.
Correct.
Okay.
So
Wanna
it's
make
not
sure
that you, sorry, it's not that you would reject it, but you wouldn't, it
Be
wouldn't go on
able
our agenda to be approved this
till the
month.
next month.
Correct.
Makes sense.
All right, early graduation requests. Any comment, or these all meet the criteria under the assumption? You want to comment, Bonnie?
Well, I'm gonna abstain because my son is one of them and my cousin's another one, so
Oh, okay.
I'll just sit over here and cry while you vote.
Is there, did I miss a part?
It went on later.
So we need a motion to approve these.
I'll make a motion to approve the early graduation requests.
Second. All right, we have a motion by Michelle, seconded by John, to approve the early graduation requests as listed. Please call the roll.
Dominic.
Aye.
Silva.
Abstain.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. All right. Item D is board policy review. We're going to review board policy 403.1 through 403.5B. And a revision is suggested in 403 point, I just lost it. 403.2, yeah.
instead of the employee filling out a form and us deciding what to do about it, they now have to call the EMC on-call nurse and they make a report and decide whether they should be seen by a doctor or gives them self-care if not. This was EMC asked us to do this to try to help control work comp claims.
EMC is the insurance company,
Yes.
yeah.
Is there a certain time frame that has to be done, or no?
Well, it's supposed to be the day of the injury, but like just recently we had one that didn't call until the next day,
So there isn't a time, because I know before there was a parameter.
Yeah.
Normally your insurance policy will say 24 hours.
Yeah.
Speaking of real insurance days.
Oh, sounds good.
Any questions or comments on the proposed change or anything else in the policy that we need to review or look at? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve these.
I'll make a motion to approve the board policy 4.3.1-403.5B with the revision.
Second.
All right, motion by Bonnie, seconded by John. Please call the roll.
Fields.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye.
McConnell.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. Okay, November monthly board meeting change of date.
Just looking at the Monday, November 14th, it's the prior to the convention.
Mhm.
It's, can't have a board meeting.
During the convention, yeah. We could have it at a nice restaurant in Des Moines.
I was gonna say.
Well, I mean, we could, except for the whole local.
Local aspect of that.
Yeah, that would.
Definition of local. We need a motion to move the date? I would make a motion to move our November board meeting to Monday, the 14th.
The same time, so 5:15.
Sorry,
Okay.
15, at
Yep.
15.
Okay.
Second.
All right, motion by Bonnie, seconded by Cindy to move the date of the November board meeting to the 14th, same time. Please call the roll.
McConnell.
Aye.
Fields.
Aye.
Dominic.
Aye.
Silva.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye. Okay, the Iowa School Board Convention.
Just a reminder to get to me, so I know if you're going both days. If you're going on Wednesday, you need to pick what sessions you're going to attend so I can get you registered. I've heard from a couple of you.
All right,
Okay.
There is actually, I was talking to ISB this afternoon, and there is a session on Friday morning, the 18th in the morning, that's specifically for officers, board officers. It's geared at presidents and vice presidents. However, she did share that anyone is welcome to attend if you so chose.
that's Friday.
It is Friday morning.
Okay.
I don't know the time on it just yet, but it's Friday morning.
8 to noon, maybe. Is that different?
It might be that, yeah. I did not look at it in terms of the time and whatever, I just know it's Friday.
But we'll have our board meeting prior to that, so we can talk about transportation and all that.
Make final plans.
All right. Any other questions? Okay, item G, we're going to, we're gonna table that. Go ahead.
So I just kind of want to explain. So with our board goals, again, this kind of got born out of a conversation with IASB about having them come in and facilitate the process for setting board goals with us. And what they would help us do is evaluate what we already have and evaluate where we want to go and start asking and just really be a part of the facilitation process to help us get ourselves on a path. So one of the conversations that we had was them looking at what we set as my 3 goals that you guys have set for me last week, and how we can elevate that more to look at that from like a district lens. And so looking at it from, what are my contributions as a superintendent towards our overall goals that we have. And they would also help us kind of spell out what are some of the strategies and action steps that we as you guys, as a board, need to take. And then also help us look for indicators of success. And they would just really do a lot of that facilitation work so that it just frees us up to just engage in the conversation more than having me facilitate that for you. So that it just kind of frees me up to be able to be a part of the conversation and part of the discussion that you guys want to have. So she did give me 2 available dates to have it as a work session, which would be either November 2nd or 9th. If we wanted to table that even further, I can call her back tomorrow and find a different date and do it later, but it won't be until December.
Are those Wednesdays?
They're all Wednesdays, yeah. Sorry, they're both Wednesdays. Yeah.
If no one minds, I wouldn't mind taking it out into December.
We can do that too. I can call her back and get a December date.
Yeah, that would fit my schedule better and probably John's.
Okay, so then I would not have you make any decision on that. We just straight up table it. And then I can call her back and look at, I can look at that. If we want to do it, we could do it any day. I mean, it doesn't have to be Wednesdays, but it can for consistency.
It might be good too to have some, especially our newer board members, go through the convention and see if you've got any ideas or special things that, you know, that you experience or learn at the convention.
You have your officers in place by then too.
Yeah, and we'll have our officers in place by then. And it might be better in December to consider board goals after you guys have been through a convention. So,
which in December would be a good time. It's a fine time. There's no time where we really should be doing it. I mean,
right.
Different boards set different goals at all different times.
Do we want to try to have our meeting with IASB
We can.
independent of our board meeting?
Be a work session.
Okay, work session. And do we want to have that prior to our December board meeting so we can approve our goals?
I would suggest that
Okay.
to do work session first and then approve
Okay.
at the very next meeting.
Okay.
Yep. It might be a back-to-back weeks of meeting, but because I believe our December meeting is set for the 14th.
21st.
Oh, is it the 21st?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, even better. So we'd have a couple of weeks then for that.
Yeah.
To clean it up because it'll be a mess. Going through like the whole process of goal setting, it is not going to be like linear and clean. It'll be messy.
Linear.
Yes, that's an educational word. Straight line through. One step.
It's gonna be complicated. Okay. Yeah, I think, so we'd probably try to do either the 17th or 14th of December
Have
tentatively,
to see what ISB.
see what she has
I'll
available.
see what her,
Yeah,
I'll see
yeah.
what her availability is into December and I'll communicate.
For instance, yeah.
And it doesn't, I don't need it, it doesn't have to be a Wednesday for
Doesn't
me. I
have
don't
to,
know
yeah.
how everybody else schedules.
The good thing about Wednesdays is you don't usually have like a basketball game or a wrestling meet or something. That's kind of why we went Wednesdays.
All right, so we'll table this until the next board meeting and then we'll set the date. Sounds good. All right, if there's nothing else from anyone, we'll adjourn.